Happy Monday. Welcome into a November edition of Daily Faceoff Live. The calendar has turned. I'm Tyler Yaremchuk. He's Carter Hutton. The show is brought to you by Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Hutts, how you doing?
Not good. I was talking to you and Pat earlier before we came live. I've played on teams where I cared less about the loss. You know, it was a tough Blue Jays weekend. You know what I thought about today? I was at a good friend's house Saturday night. We watched the game. He's a big Oilers fan. He texted me today what it's like being an Oilers fan. And it made me think about what you guys have been through the last 3 years here. But I'm sorry to bring it up to start the show. We might have to cancel the show. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, it's been a tough 18 months sporting wise for me, watching 2 Game 7 losses, another championship loss for the Oils. So I've been going through it, but that one on Saturday, it was just especially painful with the way it ends. I mean, the 9-hole hitter ties the game off your closer. He's down to 2 strikes, like everything that went into it, the double play to end it, missing with the bases. Like there's just, you can what if yourself to hell. It just sucks.
The only good thing is that we're a hockey show. So I feel like we get a little bit of a leeway here to move on, but that's going to be one, I think, for years we talk about it. There's nothing like that. You know, the Vince McMahon meme where he's like crying, and it's like, I've seen a few where it's like, hey dad, what was like the 2025 Blue Jays like? And he's crying. It's like, that is me to a T.
Yeah, it was tough, but we shall move on. We're going to be joined by Brock Seguin for our big segment today. He has a guy, a stat, and a trend for us for all you fantasy hockey managers or even bettors. He'll have some useful advice in there, but let's kick off our week the way we kick off every week here. It's our man of the weekend, looking back at the action around the NHL. And Hutts, I'm going to put my hand up and I'm going to go first because Martin Necas was the story of our show on Friday, coming off that big money extension. And boy, did he ever put his money where his mouth is to an extent. A big weekend for Martin Necas. He racks up 4 points in 2 games. The Avs get 3 of the possible 4 points. They weirdly enough lost to San Jose in overtime, but they did beat the Vegas Golden Knights on Friday night, and Necas was a big part of that. 4 points in 2 games. That's how you kick off the new extension.
Yeah, you know, for him, I think silencing a little bit of, not that it's critics, right? But I feel like everyone right away put the Avalanche on blast a bit about the Rantanen deal, and we went over that. So I think for him, starting off on the right foot is important. And this team is a dangerous team, right? I think he fits right in. So it's going to be exciting in a Central Division that's just absolutely loaded. I think as we move on here, it's going to be placement and where you play and how many minutes these guys play, you know, setting themselves up for playoff success. So it's been an exciting start, and he's a good player to get locked up. As for me, Ty, I circle back to the crease, right? I'm a little bit biased being a goalie. I'm going to go with Jet Greaves. His last 2 outings have been unbelievable. He's the man of the weekend for me. The other night, he was rock solid, making 37 saves. And as we look at this team and what he's done, he's an undersized goalie. And I think the paving the way, you look at UC Saros, you look at Dustin Wolf, the success of smaller guys, and Jet Greaves fits that book. And again, Columbus was a team that struggled getting that solid goaltending. And this year they're getting that. And when I think about that, I think about Elvis Merlikins as well. He's been great as well. Now, not being the guy is important. And again, having the right parity in net is going to be great for this Columbus team. But Jet Greaves, man, he is turning into one stud. Plus 35 saves in his last 2 wins. Been a difference maker every time he's been in the crease. Columbus becomes an instant threat with this goalie duo.
Yeah, they really do. I saw there was a great shot of Merzlikins on the bench the other day after a loss, and you could see how hard he was taking it. But Jet Greaves this weekend, man, I mean, just absolutely lights out. Stops 35 of 38 in a win over Buffalo. That was back on Wednesday. He follows it up this weekend by stopping 37 of 39 in a victory over St. Louis. And listen, I think you see a little bit, going back to the emotion from Merzlikins, like, this is a Columbus team, and there are other franchises to bring the Oilers into it. You could talk about a whole slew of teams who, like, they don't really care what happens in October and November because I think they know that at some point they'll just get hot, win 8 of 10, win 8 of 9, whatever it is, and they'll be in a playoff spot. But you look at a team like Columbus, who a year ago, Hutts, missed the playoffs by 2 points, like that much. 1 win at any point in the season was the difference between them getting to the dance and sitting on the outside and having their offseason start early. I think the reason you see this kind of emotion from this team is because they know how thin the margin is for them to be a playoff team or not.
Yeah, and again, that is the importance of this season for a lot of teams, right? I think sometimes teams that get forgotten about are these bubble teams where it's not necessarily, okay, we're going to get in the playoffs, we're going to make noise, we're going to try to win a Stanley Cup, but like taking a step forward to get into the playoffs, the development factor for these younger guys, being in the mix, playing meaningful hockey down the stretch. And again, I feel like you hear a lot of players and general managers talk about that. Just the experience being around late in the season, making the playoffs, even if you don't have the expectations of winning. And I think that's where you got to value what Dean Evason has done here and the way this team is built is it's gone from this team that was an easy win, right? Like you'd go in there, they never really pushed you. Where now every night the expectations are high for them to win. And I think that is powerful for a younger group in Columbus. It's obviously going to be a battle all year, but they're going to be in the hunt here, I think, as we move on down the stretch.
Yeah, and just having, again, the goaltending position sorted out there the way it was. You go back to last year, like there were some rough nights in the first month of the season. Like I'm just looking out of Elvis Merzlikins' first 8 starts last year, 4, 4, 6, 4. Like in 50% of them, he was giving up 4 or more goals. Like you're not winning when you give up 4 or more goals. So again, for them to just have that little bit of stability right out of the gate, I think it's a big reason to be optimistic if you're a Columbus Blue Jackets fan. Speaking of optimism, Hutts, how about another super weekend by the super rookie, Matt Schaefer, out on Long Island? He was sensational. He gets his first career 2-goal game. He's now tied for first in goals by a defenseman in the NHL. Again, you want to talk about emotion. If you go look up their bench reaction after their win the other day, you would have thought that they just won a playoff game. But the Islanders are a tick above 500 right now. I know they're 6th in the Metro, but just the fact that they're hovering where they are is impressive. And number 48 is a massive reason why they're off to this start.
And the confidence that Patrick Roy has in Schaefer to play him in these situations, and he's playing a ton of minutes. That's a great clip of the bench, just going absolutely wild. And this is with subpar goaltending so far. Sorokin hasn't been his best. And again, as we get into more underlying numbers about Sorokin, they've been giving up a lot of high-quality chances. But the success of Matthew Schaefer, he becomes the youngest defenseman to score multiple goals in a game, edging out the great Bobby Orr, which is a great stat. I think that's quite the accomplishment for the young player. And then as you look at his development, right, we look at Celebrini, we look at Bedard, we look at all these younger players. In the Olympic year, it'll be interesting to see as we move on to the Hall of Fame coming up. And then they're going to name, Doug Armstrong mentioned about selecting the 35 guys or whatever it's going to be for the Olympic roster. Is this the guy that is in the hunt? I don't think he's there yet because I look at, Makar and guys that create that offensive capabilities. You need kind of the right slotting. But Matthew Schaefer is a player that we're going to get used to hearing for a long, long time. I know it's early, but this guy just has so much talent. And to come into this league and dominate it so quickly on the defensive end of the puck is very impressive for him. And for the Islanders, the upside is huge here.
Yeah, the upside is absolutely huge. And to have this start to your career as an offensive defenseman, it doesn't come that easy for a lot of guys. So I went and looked up how the Quinn Hughes, Adam Fox, Lane Hutts, and Cale Makar, what their numbers were through 12 regular season games. And important to note that because Cale Makar also debuted in the playoffs. But in regular season hockey, their first 12 games, Matthew Schaefer is right there with Makar. He's done more than Lane Hutson did. He does way more than Fox had, better numbers than Hughes had. Like, it's pretty crazy to look at this. And like, I don't think it's an exaggeration as much as this is 12 games and Matthew Schaefer's probably going to play 1,200 in the NHL. It's early on, but it's very easy to look at this and go, man, we might be looking, or we are looking at the next guy who's going to be in the perennial Norris conversation with the Makar and the Hughes of the world.
Yeah, I don't think that's a stretch whatsoever, right? He's not going to lose talent. It's going to be health. It's going to be as he adjusts. And think he is a young guy. Like, he's only going to get bigger and stronger and faster. And you're playing in a position that takes a lot of time and experience. We don't see a lot of defensemen jump in, but he is the perfect example of a new age defenseman. They just come into the league ready to go. Their defensive skills are a lot better than they used to be. I think they're coached at a better age, but his talent is through the roof, and we're seeing it firsthand here.
Yeah, we got a comment in here from Joe who says, well, one was a first overall pick versus the others, which weren't. And I get that. Like, Lane Hutson was in the second round. Makar went 4th overall. Hughes was still a top 10 pick, though. Fox, I think, whatever he was, a 3rd rounder, and then he went to college. But, like, I get the point you're making, Joe, but the flip side of that is, one, Mechanicsville says, I've never seen an 18-year-old who missed most of his 17-year-old junior year have this type of skill. His defense will improve too. That is important to note. Like, yes, he's a first overall pick, but he did not play the back half of last year after getting hurt at the World Juniors. And the other thing, when McCarr jumped to the NHL, when Fox and Hughes, when these guys jumped into the NHL, they were 19, 20, 21 years old. Like, they went and played college for a couple of years. This kid is a true raw 18-year-old putting up these numbers. It's insane.
Yeah, that is a big factor here. And again, I can't state it enough that being a defenseman takes more time than being a forward. Like, there's just more that goes into the fine-tuning experience of the game. Just like goaltending, it's really hard to see young guys come in and have success. So the development factor that he's experiencing right now that is speeding up his process is so important. I guess my only concern is, as I watch in the minutes that he's playing, is it sustainable? Right? Like, he's been very good, but he still is 18, playing against guys that are men, that are stronger, bigger, and the wear and tear of the season, as it reels on, does it start to have an effect on him? But out of the gate here, Ty, this is exciting for the Islanders, and I think everybody around the NHL.
Yeah, Cologne, I don't know how to say that. Ludlow said in the chat, Schaefer and Celebrini have to make the Olympic team. I think you might get Macklin Celebrini on there. Yeah. I'll be honest, with the way we've seen Canada pick their blue line in the past, like, even go back to last season, a guy like Thomas Harley didn't make it out of the chute because who did they pick? They wanted Parayko there. They wanted Travis Sanheim there. Even Josh Morrissey to an extent, although he does have some offensive upside and he plays the power play in Winnipeg. But I think we'll see this Olympic management roster. They might take Celebrini because you can shelter him a little bit. I don't think they want to bring a defenseman that they'll have to shelter. So I think Celebrini is closer to a lock. Schaefer, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either, because now, so my concern there would be like slotting him with his minutes. So all of a sudden he goes from playing the NHL and he's playing 20 plus minutes a night, being in the number one pairing, playing all in these great situations, to be like, well, if he's not going to be the number one guy on the power play, where does he fit? And now you want him to play shutdown minutes. I just don't think it really makes sense, where having guys that fit inside their role, and we've seen this so many years, guys get judged on people that get left off the team, right? Look at Stevie Y leaving Martin St. Louis off the team where he should have been there, but you pick guys for certain roles that they're in so they don't have to adjust their game. It's not necessarily always going to be best available when you're looking at a tournament like this. And I think Schaefer's going to be here and we're going to hear his name for years to come on the international stage. I just don't know right now if that's the time. And I think Celebrini makes a much better case because of his complete game already, where he can be in a little bit more of a slotted role.
Yeah, absolutely. You can put him on the third line. Trust he'll be good defensively, all of that stuff. Let's keep going before we get to Brock. Some news as we went into the weekend out of New Jersey. We didn't get a chance to talk about this on the show because it happened after we closed things up on Friday. But Jacob Markstrom gets a 2-year extension with the New Jersey Devils here, Hutts. That means they have he and Jake Allen each locked up for at least 2 more seasons. Allen's going to be around for a little bit after this. It's a 35-year-old goalie here who's signing an extension. So you're getting Markstrom through age 36, 37 on this deal. I don't have a big problem with the price tag, but what did you make of this contract?
No, I like it. Honestly, for a guy, I think it's the fact that they have Jake Allen as well. Now, between the two of them, Markstrom's got 539 games played. Jake has 438. Both 908 save percentage over like a long stretch of games, which is impressive. The veteran leadership that these two bring is important. And for me, I guess it's risk reward, Ty, right? So if you don't give him the contract, right, what does it matter, right? Where are you going to go search out and find a guy to be that number one? There's no one really in the pipe that's coming up to take that job. So in 2 years, what's $6 million if it doesn't work out? You still have Jake Allen at a really good, reasonable number. He signed a 5-year deal. He's going to be well into his 40 by the time he's finishing out that contract at $1.8 million. So I just think risk reward here, this contract is a good bet by them. And again, Markstrom doesn't have to worry about free agency. He stays stable. He gets 2 more years at a really healthy number. This is a good duo. And again, with Markstrom being out early in the year, how good Jake Allen was stabilizing this crease, I think the Devils look good here for the future.
Yeah, and just looking at the pending free agents here, I pulled up Puckpedia. The pending UFA goalies, Scott Wedgwood. Okay, maybe a team views him as a guy who can be a 1B, but you're not signing Scott Wedgwood to be a workhorse goalie. Sergei Bobrovsky, he's going to go back to Florida. He's going to sign some sweetheart deal there. Stuart Skinner. I mean, Edmonton's either going to keep him because he finally gets over the playoff jitters, or Edmonton's going to fire him into the sun and no team's going to trust him to be a number one. Freddie Anderson, 36 years old. Cam Talbot, 38 years old. And then you have Jet Greaves, who probably just sticks in Columbus because it's working there. the Devils getting ahead of this Markstrom thing, you're right. There's not someone coming up through the pipeline, and it's not like they could just cross their fingers and go, let's try to get someone cheaper on July 1. Like, you're just not.
And there's no upgrade, right? There's nobody there that's an upgrade. And again, I feel like we've talked about this so much when we talk about the free agent class with the cap, with this unique combo now that we have. Like, what is the number at come free agency? Like, get it done now. He's just coming off an injury. Like, he's one injury away from being done. Like, he's an older guy. This is where they have all the leverage, and the player, maybe he waits. He could get a bigger number somewhere else, but take the risk out of it. I think both sides win on this deal, Ty.
Yeah, so the Devils going forward next offseason, if it's a $107 million ceiling, they'll have $13 million in cap space with 9 forwards, 7 defensemen, and 2 goalies under contracts. So that's a pretty good amount of wiggle room for Tom Fitzgerald out in New Jersey. I think next up for them, and if you're a Devils fan, maybe looking at what this team could look to do, I think they got to add one more scorer. They have so many defensemen there. It's almost too many defensemen. Hamilton, Hughes, Pesce, Dillon. I know Kovacevic is hurt on LTIR, but Siegenthaler, Seamus Casey, Simon Nemec, like they're rolling 8 D-men deep right now. I think Tom Fitzgerald needs to take a big swing at the deadline, much like he did when they brought in Timo Meier. And I know that didn't really work in the moment, although Meier is again, he's playing third line minutes there. It's fine. They need to take a swing on a big forward. That's the next ad for them.
I think so too. In a Metro division that, who's the team to beat? The Carolina Hurricanes, you would say? Like, it feels like that path is there and not really restricted. So if you can make a few good pieces and get this team into the playoffs, you have the young talent, you have the veteran leadership in the pipes. Obviously, their decor has been good. Dougie Hamilton, if he stays healthy, they're a dangerous, dangerous hockey team. And the fact is the Metro division is one of those ones where we talked about this earlier in our predictions. You like the Hurricanes because of the weak. It seems like an easy path into the Eastern Conference final at that point.
Yeah, totally. I think if you're the Devils or the Canes, this is an all-in kind of year for you where you go, man, the Rangers aren't looking like they're going to take any amount of a step forward. The Capitals have maybe stumbled a little bit more than some people thought. Like, the Metro, you could have a path to the conference finals here if you make the right in-season moves. So the Devils, certainly a team to watch as we continue along, off to a great start this season at 9-4. Let's get to our big segment for the day and bring in our friend Brock Seguin. He's brought to you by Uber Eats. Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app. From game day eats to paper plates and napkins, if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip before, during, or after the game. Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Daily Faceoff Fantasy Managing Editor Brock Seguin joining us as he does on Mondays for a guy, a stat, and a trend. Brock, let's kick things off. Let's get right into it for the people. Who's the guy you're looking at heading into this week?
I'm breaking the rules again. I got 2. I was curious to see how the Maple Leafs lines were going to look when William Nylander came back, because Nick Robertson looked really good up there, back-to-back multi-point efforts while filling in on that top line for Nylander. Well, Nylander's coming back tonight, and in the morning skate this morning, Robertson remained on that top line with Matthews and Nyes. So it sets him up for a nice week if that ends up sticky. I guess the only issue is after the skate, they didn't technically rule Bobby McMahon out as a healthy scratch, so things still could change a little bit. But the Maple Leafs have a really nice streaming schedule this week. They got 3 late night games, so I like Robertson right now. He's rostered in just 1% of Yahoo leagues. But the player I'm a little bit more interested in is Easton Cowan. He's going to skate in that top 6 still with Tavares and Nylander, but he actually replaced Matthew Nyes on power play 1 in the morning skate, so his role feels a little bit more secure than Robertson's, and he's been really good the last couple games in this top 6. He has 7 shots on goal and 15 shot attempts in his last 2 games. So if that kind of volume continues while playing with Tavares and Nylander and now on power play 1, I really think Cowan is in a great spot to succeed this week, and then potentially moving forward could be a bit of a longer term ad. But those 2 young players, they're trying to do it by committee, replace Mitch Marner, and a little bit of a youth movement going on right now.
Yeah, Brock, I like that. I think the Leafs need to start winning some hockey games. You look at Tampa getting hot and what they're starting to do in an Atlantic division that's star-studded, right, with the Habs and, running away with the division. But now what do you have for us for a stat?
So coming into the season, the Ducks were a pretty trendy breakout pick, playoff pick, and some other players, Cutter Gauthier is getting a lot of fanfare right now, but I don't think enough people are talking about Leo Carlsson. He's on a 6-game point streak right now with 10 points during that stretch, but it's more impressive than that. If you pull back the layers a little bit, if you go all the way back to February of last season, Carlsson had 29 points in his last 31 games last year. So when you combine that with his 16 points in his first 11 games from this season, Carlsson has 16 goals, 29 assists, 45 points in his last 42 games. That is tied for 19th in the NHL during that stretch, and that's a 31 goal, 57 assist, 88 point pace. So it's just not getting enough talk about just how unbelievable he's been in this breakout. That just seems to be just a full-fledged breakout for him and some of the other Ducks, but he's somehow still available in 37% of Yahoo leagues too. So not getting enough credit. I think Leo Carlsson is just going to be a tremendous hockey player for many years to come, and this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg right now.
And again, you never know with guys like that too. Like we were talking about the usual development curve for defensemen, right? Sometimes it takes a while for the offense and even for the game to round out. And I think back to like when the Oilers drafted Leon Draisaitl 3rd overall, and it took him kind of 2 years. He played half a season. They sent him back to junior. He started the next year in the American League, and he was always kind of viewed as like a pass first, defense first, power forward. And then all of a sudden, boom, he just blossomed and bloomed into one of the game's best goal scorers. And I wonder with Carlsson, like it was a similar narrative when he was drafted. This was not a guy who was like, you pick him because he's going to get you 95 to 100 points. It's like, no, you pick him because he's going to just be, maybe it's a Ryan Getzlaf or a lower tier Ryan Getzlaf where there's other things he does than just produce a whole bunch of points. But I don't know, maybe now this is his 3rd year in the NHL. Maybe he is ready to take a step to being a 90+ point guy.
Yeah, he obviously had a polished two-way game, right? Coming in, he's been a solid player for them for the last couple of years, but now, that team as a whole has taken an offensive step, and he's been a big driver along with Cutter Gauthier, and they've got enough talented wingers there, right? Like Chris Kreider's come in and helped the power play. This is a team to look out for right now.
Yeah, 5 points for Carter, or 5-game point streak for Cutter Gauthier, 2 goals in the win over the Devils over the weekend. Let's wrap it up with a trend. Brock, what do you got?
Yeah, I know people are probably starting to panic here on Nikolai Ehlers, but I think this is the perfect buy low opportunity for him. Of the players, I tweeted out this morning, the players with 0 goals this season, he has the 2nd most shots on goal behind only Evander Kane. I believe it's 28 shots on goal, no goals so far, but he's a career 11.9 shooter coming into this season, so it's pretty reasonable to expect that he should have 3 goals by now, and it's not like it's for a lack of trying, right? The shot volume's good. He had been playing on the line with Aho and Jarvis, a line that just was dominating puck possession, and Aho and Jarvis going off and Ehlers just not doing anything. But it's not just his goal scoring that's due for positive regression. His IPP, which if you're not familiar is individual point percentage, so the amount of the percentage of points you factor in on while you're on the ice and a goal is being scored, is at 36.4% in all situations. That's like stay-at-home defenseman territory, like brutal. Over the last 3 years, he had an 82%, 77%, and 72% IPP. Those are elite numbers. He is among the league best over those 3 years. So, he's just been incredibly unfortunate so far. The buy low window is wide open on Ehlers, so I want to get in, buy low before it's too late. It might be an even better opportunity right now because at the morning skate this morning, he was bumped off the line with Aho and Jarvis. They retooled that entire top 9. Jarvis is now with Stahl. Ehlers is down with Stankoven. So a lot of moving pieces there. People might go, look, oh man, he's not on Aho's line anymore. I'm definitely dumping this guy. So I think you can get Ehlers for super cheap, and there's just such better days ahead for him the way things have gone this far. Just terribly unfortunate.
Yeah.
For me,
you got one, Hutts?
Yeah, I just think for this lineup and the lack of production for the Carolina Hurricanes in playoffs, we're going to see a lot of moving parts as this team goes. I think Rod Brindamore is getting to know a new player too, right? This is a guy that demands a lot. I think Nikolai Ehlers is a veteran. I think he will bounce back. So I think this is a great one.
Well, you see it too with like Svechnikov, right? Like he was horrible for the first couple of weeks and just couldn't get anything going. He's starting to find his stride, scored kind of a really nice goal last week. That's like, okay, maybe he's starting to find himself again. So he's getting rewarded back on power play 1, back on the top line. Jarvis really solidifies that third line. Like Brindamore is a guy that's not afraid to mix it up. He does it all the time. And I think that's the frustration a lot of people have with owning Carolina Hurricanes in fantasy is because Jarvis can go from the first line to the third line overnight, but all 3 of those lines are capable of producing offense. They dominate puck possession. So it doesn't really matter where you are in the lineup there. You got a chance to score.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. That was going to be my next one for you. And if anyone ever has fantasy questions for Brock in our YouTube chat, drop them in. We'll try to carve out some time every week. But like, I'm a Svechnikov owner right now, and I'm like this close to pulling the pin. I'm not in a super deep league either. So like, I could pick up Cowan right now if I wanted to. Should I pull the pin on Svechnikov or wait it out?
Yeah, I'm not pulling the pin yet. It's still a little too early. I think there's still a lot of untapped potential there. Like, I know we've been talking about it for seemingly forever. But yeah, he seems to be finding his way a little bit. I think that you're more likely to drop him and regret it than the other way around. So I'm gonna hold tight at least for another week and maybe reassess on a week by week basis right now. Because yeah, it's a tough situation. Obviously, you paid a decent price for him on draft day, about a middle round pick, and the return on the investment has not been great thus far.
There you go. A guy, a stat, and a trend with Brock Seguin. You can find more of his work by going to the DFO Fantasy YouTube channel. We'll maybe throw a link in our chat here so people can head over and subscribe. Brock, we'll chat next week. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, boys.
Daily Faceoff inbox question, hashtag AskDFO. Hutts, we got one in from J-Rock, and as we head into the second month of the season, this is usually where we find out if hot starts are legitimate trends, if cold starts are legitimate trends, or if teams can find ways to bounce back. So J-Rock wants to know, who is a struggling team that you think is primed for a surge, or a hot team that you think is ready to stumble? I think there are a couple of pretty interesting options here. I look at a team like St. Louis, 333 points percentage, two goalies who are playing, I'll say, uncharacteristically poor. I wonder if St. Louis isn't due at some point here to just like rattle off 4 or 5 in a row and really calm down that fan base.
Yeah, I think so with their veterans, and it's a good dynamic, right? Joel Hofer's he's underperformed this year. Jordan Binnington hasn't been much better. So I do like that one. Minnesota as well as a team I think is going to trend back in that direction. But the switch over to the Eastern Conference, I think I got to lay into the Toronto Maple Leafs here. I think the Leafs have underperformed so far what we've expected. I think when Joseph Woll comes back, it will be important for this team to get going in the right direction and start playing a better brand of hockey. So that would be the team that I think has really underperformed, which is due for a strong November. Statistically and historically, they haven't been great in October. So I look for that trend to continue as November goes on here, and they pick up their slack here a bit.
The second worst 5-on-5 save percentage in the NHL belongs to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Again, we talked about this last week, so I don't want to like beat a dead horse, but like everyone points and goes, well, Marner's gone. Like they're not going to be able to score. Marner's gone. They are scoring more than enough to win hockey games. They need to defend better. And with Tanev getting stretched off the ice the other day, that was scary. But like, you worry about the blue line without Tanev. And again, goaltending, Woll coming back, it's coming at a good time because they need to get some saves.
Yeah, it will. And again, when you look back on their early fall season last year, early in the year, there was a lot of games where they weren't the better team and their goalie played well. They kept them in games. And right now they're not getting that. So I don't think this is totally concerning in Leafland. I think it's going to get better. But the Tanev loss is an interesting one because it's something that worrisome. How long is he out for? He isn't a young guy. So that is concerning. But for the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think in the Atlantic, now that Tampa Bay is rolling, I feel like they're starting to feel a little more pressure there.
Let's get to our daily bets for our friends at Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gentlemen, I scooped up a win on Friday. A plus 125 payout. I had Schaefer at 2, Eichel at 3. They both managed to cash for me. Pat, did you get a win on Friday?
Yes, I did. Necas, the anytime goal right away. I think it was the first 30 seconds or something. Carter was texting me, and then he did it again the day after, so I should have bet on it then too. But Necas cashed in for me for sure.
41
seconds. How did the undergo in the?
Not good. Not good. We got the 7. We were close though. Just 7 doesn't count, but not good. John Gibson, like, how do you give up 5 in your return? Like, I was betting on you and he couldn't get it done, so that's fine. John Gibson burned me. I'm moving on.
All right. He is now on your no bet list. Our picks for tonight, I'm going right back to the shot prop parlays. Leon Draisaitl to get 3 shots, Connor Bedard to get 3 shots. It's been 4 of 5 for Leon Draisaitl hitting this number, 5 in a row actually for Connor Bedard hitting this number. You play them together, you get them at plus 152. Pat, what do you got?
Well, for some reason, it's not showing the right bets here. I see it on my screen, but it's not showing up here. I have Crosby 3 shots and Matthews 3 shots. Now, I know I didn't look at your picks when I made mine. It's just funny that we all kind of picked the big guns to get 3 shots today, so I appreciated that. But we'll jump over to Carter here, and I'll try and get this sorted out.
Well, I don't want to bore all our viewers with all these shot props, so I went a little bit off the board, and I'm going to take the Vancouver Canucks money line in Nashville tonight. I think just the way they're playing, the Kiefer Shearwood, there's a lot of good things trending in Vancouver, and I think they have to stay on that. A healthy Thatcher Demko is a huge part of that. Preds just haven't really excited me this year, so I'm going to take the Vancouver Canucks on the road here to win.
I don't mind that, just looking at kind of, home road splits and things of that nature. Obviously, the game is in Nashville, but you're getting the Canucks at plus money. They're 500 as a road team, and just going straight up wins, losses. The Preds are 500 as a home team as well. So it's not like you're playing a team in Nashville who's been amazing on home ice by any means. All right, let's wrap up the show. A little bit of garbage time here, Hutts. And as we looked at all the Halloween costumes from around the NHL, I thought this was pretty funny between Nick Sirianni and Nick Foligno, who have long been called each other's doppelgangers. But after Foligno goes as Sirianni for Halloween, Sirianni returns the favor and goes as Foligno. It is insane how much these two guys look like each other.
Insane. My phone just started buzzing. When you said Sirianni, Siri picked up on it. So that's good. You can control my phone from all the way out in Alberta. But this is great. I love the crossover between sports and him embracing it and wearing it. And honestly, they both are, it's so bang on. It's great. I love the Halloween costume. It was a great idea from both of them.
You just reminded me of one of the all-time pranks that I played when I used to be on the radio at TSN here in Edmonton. We figured out that if we said, there were so many people who'd listen on Google speakers, right? Like those fancy Google things. And we figured out that if we say, "Hey Google," that the people's smart speakers are picking it up. So one day, I think it was right before April Fool's, I went on the air on the radio. I said, "Hey Google, set an alarm for 2 a.m. tomorrow." And then we had a bunch of listeners the next day being like, "What the hell, man? My and Google was going off at 2 a.m.
That's insane. I love it. I love that you picked up on it. It's crazy how it does that. My wife's car, you can say, "Hey Google." Worst thing we ever did was show our kids. So they hear every little dumb story they want to say to the car. But I love it. Good pickup by you, and another great weekend of hockey in the NHL for us, my man.
Yeah, it was good. We got Jeff Merritt coming up, David Pagnotta later on this week as well. So the usual run of good guests. Steve Peters on Wednesday too. Can't forget about him. So look forward to chatting with everybody in the YouTube throughout the week. Enjoy your Monday. We'll see you back right here tomorrow, noon Eastern. Hey, hockey fans, if you enjoyed that video, then make sure you hit the subscribe button right here on the Daily Faceoff YouTube. We have you covered for everything you need. Exclusive interviews on The Sheet with Jeff Merrick, all the latest hockey news on Daily Faceoff Live, and you can always get your morning started with Johnny Lazarus and Colby Cohn on Morning Cup of Hockey. Don't miss a minute. Hit that subscribe button.